In this video, we're going to take a look at Jim Harbor's problem child, Mossberg Patriot 308, and kick off a pretty cool project. Gavin Gu here from UltimateReloader.com. We are live with Jim Harbor from Backfire TV. How you doing, Jim?
Awesome. Yeah, looking forward to talking to you, except I'm not looking forward to having a discussion about this rifle because it is the bane of my existence. I have hated this rifle for years at this point, and so I'm looking forward to seeing what you can do with it.
Yeah, let's take a quick review because you've done, I think, 3 videos about Mossberg Patriot, 2 involving this rifle right here. Tell us what happened.
So I'll condense the story because it's something, but years ago, I got a Mossberg Patriot, and I was doing kind of the best, rifle under, I think it was $350 at the point, before inflation world has hit us all. And that video, the gun just wasn't shooting. I mean, we couldn't keep all the shots on the same piece of paper frequently. We're going to kind of work through worst to best in this review. And we got to start with the Mossberg Patriot, which for both of us, it makes me sad that this isn't our favorite gun. We tried different loads, nothing. Try replace the scope, see if we mess something up as we were getting the scope on, make sure all the screws are tight, whatever, nothing. Try tightening the action screws, nothing. I mean, all the normal things you would check, it's just not shooting. And I don't mean like, hey, it's not the best, it's 2 MOA instead of 1. I mean, it's pretty bad.
Okay, so left side of this target, this is
That
Jim.
looks like
1, 2.
Oh yeah, over there.
1, 2, 3, what, 4, 5 maybe?
Holy crap!
So we send it back to Mossberg. They say, okay, we'll do it. Mossberg says, yes, there is a problem with it, and so we're going to replace the barrel. They tell us they replaced the barrel, and they sent us a target of how it was shooting with the new barrel. 3 nice shots roll in a nice tight cluster, and I get the gun back and I go to shoot it and it doesn't shoot. In fact, it's just like before. They're not even staying on the page frequently. We're shooting 4-shot groups. It's very bad, but certainly the worst accuracy I've seen from a hunting rifle. And they say they replaced the barrel, and they say that target was what it produced, but I'm just having a hard time believing that. And so I contact Mossberg, and they, because of the channel, somebody came out and went to shoot it with me, and they said, okay, yeah, I don't know what's going on here, but it's not shooting. And so they gave me a different Mossberg Patriot, this time with a synthetic stock, and it's not shooting. It's doing better. It's at least, we're on the same page and stuff, but it's not a 1 MOA rifle. It definitely is not. And so I've been really frustrated with it, especially because I've seen others who have reviewed the Mossberg Patriot in 308 on YouTube. And I did a little kind of meta-analysis looking at all the other reviewers that have reviewed a Mossberg Patriot in 308. And I mean, there were 6 channels-ish that had done videos. All of them showed poor accuracy. And that's a huge problem. And the interesting thing, though, was they're all in 308. Since then, and this is a couple years that this has been a problem child rifle. Since then, other people have reviewed Mossberg Patriots and in other cartridges, and they're shooting great. Adam Hootie Who has done a 7 PRC Mossberg Patriot, shot great for him. I haven't tried others, and so I'm not saying all Mossberg Patriots are terrible. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying this is a problem child.
Yeah, and I watched the videos that you published on Backfire, and then I mounted a scope. I don't have a lot of Weaver mount options here, so I've got a Weaver Grand Slam. I think, what is it? It's 16 power. It's like 3 to 16 or 4 to 16. Yeah, 4 to 16 it looks like. And I put a bipod on it. I got a nice rear bag going. I think it was, game changer, whatever. Hornady factory 168 ammo. And I pretty much reproduced what you were seeing. My shots were in about the 2.5 to 3.5 inch range. And I would expect, a lot better, especially for a rifle that's been, addressed, sent back to the factory and that kind of thing. And so you and I were talking about this at the Rock Chalk Olympics, and I just thought, I want to take this particular rifle, regardless of what Mossberg has done since then, right? I want to take this particular rifle and treat this as an exercise. How can you take a misbehaving problem child, go through it, and address the issues? Now, I want to show you some things.
I just have a little advice for you. Spare the rod, spoil the child, Gavin. You just got to beat that thing. That's how you fix this problem, child.
So I had this apart because I wanted to see what it was going to take to rebarrel it. And when I took it apart, I noticed something that was kind of funny. So first of all, not only did I see poor accuracy with this rifle, but I also had some of those lack of picking up rounds, skipping off the top kind of issues that you saw when you were shooting it as well. Okay, so trigger guard comes off. There's 2 screws. There's kind of a wood screw in the back, and then the 2 action screws kind of sit right here. So I need the front action screw out a little bit here. Okay, so it sort of looks a little Howa-ish, the trigger, and it kind of looks Remington 700-ish at the front. It's kind of a sort of Howa-ish type design, I guess, because the Howa also has the recoil logo, although I believe theirs is typically integrated, including with the Weatherby Vanguard, right? So, you know, they've got a barrel nut. It's all looking pretty straightforward. What kind of shocked me a little bit was this number right here. So this is kind of the magwell. And if you can see this plastic piece, it gets sandwiched. Like there's the action screw hole right there. And do you see how it has like ribs on the back?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like I was originally wanting to do this project preserving this stock. Couple issues. One is this whole, I don't know, call it a bottom metal, bottom plastic, I guess. The other was the amount of material at the fore end could potentially interfere with my plans for a heavier bull barrel. So I took a look at this bedding situation and I figured, you know, we're gonna have to look at other options there. I did a trigger pull gauge and found that it broke at 2 pounds, which actually is not bad, but we're gonna take that on as well. I'm gonna spare no expense on this. And by expense, I mean mostly my time, right? So we're gonna address the issue. We're gonna address the stock. We're definitely gonna get a different barrel on there. But beyond that, you know, I have some ideas, but things could go in some really different directions. And what I want to do is I want to take this rifle and kind of completely redo it, maybe use some imagination, take it in a different direction, and then we can get back on one of these calls and I'll do an unveiling for you and I'll share the results that we've gotten. So
that sounds awesome.
I did check bolt lug to lug seat contact and it's excellent, which you would expect with the floating bolt head. It looks like a swapping...
Explain that to a goober like me.
Sure. So here's the bolt. And, you know, when the rifle fires, it goes backwards, right? There's forces here on the bolt face. And so the back side here is what you're really concerned with. And if prior to firing, both of these lugs are pressing up against the lug seats, when you get that 60,000 pounds per square inch or 50,000 pounds per square inch pushing back, there's not any kind of rocking vibration induced down the barrel. They're already pushed firm like this, and then they're just pushing harder against each other rather than like a choot, that kind of motion, right? And any vibration in the barrel obviously is going to kill your groups because that barrel is going to be whipping around. Who knows where it's going to be when the bullet exits. So this looks like it has the pin that you can remove, and you can swap the bolt face, the whole front bolt assembly, the nose here, and go to different cartridges, that kind of thing. And that helps it seat against the lug seats because it can move a little bit since it's a floating design. That was good. Another thing before we conclude here is these Weaver bases have got to go. I'm thinking to put probably a 20 MOA rail, kind of like a Remington 700 style continuous Picatinny setup or something like that, because this scope would not be my choice for target shooting or hunting for that matter. So yeah, I think we've essentially got a good foundation here, and it'll be really interesting to see where it goes with what it turns out to be from form and function, which cartridge, which application, all that. And then to see, of course, what kind of groups are we going to get? You know, that was what really motivated me from the get-go was, can we tame the beast, right? So,
well, that's awesome. I'm excited to see with your expertise. You know so much more about the gunsmithing stuff than I do. I'm excited to see one, what you can accomplish and what you change on it. But the second thing that I think is really cool is just your analysis of the problems as you're investigating it, like the things you've already shared. I think are really cool because you know it's frustrating for people like me. You know, you buy a rifle. And if it's not shooting, you're like, well, that sucks. What do I do? What do I do now? Right?
Yep.
Like, you know, you go try a bunch of different ammo, you check all the basic things, but if you don't check, you know, after you've kind of run through the analysis of the things that everybody wants to check in a rifle system, at that point, it's like, do I buy new stock? Do I need to get a new barrel? Like, I don't know.
Yep.
I'm just going to start throwing money at this thing until it starts shooting. And so I think that'll be a cool part of this project is to get your expert analysis of where the problems really were.
Well, I appreciate that. And, you know, for me, it's an evolving journey, right? And like you mentioned, it's so frustrating. What you really want to be able to do as a rifleman is isolate the variables. You know, what in the way I'm shooting is the problem. What with the rifle or the ammo is the problem. What with the conditions or the mirage, you know, is the problem. And then you can actually address things rather than just trying to change one thing or another, or worse yet, change multiple things at once, right?
Yeah, if I could say one thing about that's
Yep.
been really helpful for me as, you know, my journey into guns has progressed over the years, is the one thing that really helped me, especially, you know, where I have different rifles and some are shooting better than others and stuff, is where I have that one rifle that I can always go back to make sure I'm not crazy. Once you get that one gun that's shooting, you know, sub half minute, just really shooting well, it kind of helps you with everything else. Because sometimes I'll have a crazy problem gun and I'll say, you know what, I'm just going to go grab old trusty and I'm going to go out to the range and I'm going to want to prove to myself that I can produce a tiny group. Can I do it? Have I gotten a little bit lazy on my trigger pull? Am I just rushing things a little bit? And if you have one of those guns that you can always go back to and you can say, okay, no, I can do this thing. And then you go back to that problem gun. And it just gives you a lot more confidence as you're working through those things to be able to isolate the biggest problem, which is usually us.
No, I totally agree. And when we go to sanity check ourselves, we bring out the 223 trainer because we know with this Berger 77 OTM ammo and this rifle, it's a done deal, right? And so maybe it's a different shooting bag you're trying or a different, you know, bipod. Is it the bipod or is it the rifle? Well, here's one check that we can do. Yeah, it definitely helps clear the air.
It helped me last week. I had a very nice higher end rifle that a company sent me to review, and it wasn't shooting terrible, but just not what you would expect to see from that class of rifle. And I was getting frustrated, and so I took out old trusty, and I was still shooting, you know, 3/4 minute with that gun, but I said, you know, but it's not quite what I would want to see. And I started running the numbers, and I noticed like I'm often mostly ignoring the wind at 100 yards, but that day it was just really gusty. It would just switch from 0 to 10. You know, it wasn't like crazy windy, but it was just very gusty. It wasn't still at all. It wasn't consistent. And so I ran that into the Hornady app and I said, you know, how much is that going to push my bullet? Even just at 100 yards from 0 to 10. And I'm like, oh, well, there's my problem. It explained at least a third minute of the problem. There was still an issue with the rifle, but that's why old Trusty wasn't doing it, is there was a third minute of just wind, just gust between them, you know? And so anyway, I really like having that one rifle you can go back to. Helps with everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, this is a great kickoff. Jim, thank you for sending me the rifle, and thank you for being a participant in the ongoing saga of this Mossberg Patriot. What we would like to know from you is, what do you think is going on here? Have you had accuracy problems with an inexpensive hunting rifle, or specifically with a Mossberg Patriot? Do you have ideas about what could be going on here? Drop a comment and join the discussion. Jim, we'll be back for more action I'm going to try not to keep you posted on my progress because I want to do a reveal and see what kind of surprises we have in store when we talk again on this.
Excited to see it. Thanks, Gavin.
Okay, that concludes this video, and that means it's time to wrap it up, which Jim made fun of me for at the Rock Truck Olympics. Sometimes I go like this. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, where we've got unrestricted content, and Instagram. Make sure to follow us on all those channels. Ultimate Reloader also has a commercial solutions division serving law enforcement, the military, and the gun industry. We have some unique capabilities, including a comprehensive suite of recoil testing and evaluation capabilities, trigger profiling, and more. If you're interested in custom rifles like what we build here on the channel or gunsmithing services, you're going to want to go to rifles.ultimatereloader.com and get on the wait list. If you want to learn lucrative gunsmithing like what I show here on the channel, including building custom rifles and Cerakote plus a whole bunch more, you're going to want to check out the Colorado School of Trades, schooloftrades.edu. Thanks again for watching.